Hi there, folks. I'm Jod Dat Down, journalist and filmmaker. You may know me from my pet stock commercials. You know, the ones with the dancing rat? 40 years ago, while attending the launch of the Gap Retirement Village, I stumbled across an up-and-coming band so brilliant, I knew they were destined for greatness. Flash forward to today. Right now, No One Cares is not only a household name, but their frontman Tim Lunn has truly cemented himself amongst rock and roll royalty. Over the years, I've been lucky enough to document the rise, fall, rebirth, refall, stumble, and plateau of the worldwide phenomenon, and can now share their enthralling tale with you all. I hope you are ready to rock and roll.
All right.
So, let's start at the beginning.
Before we met Tim, he'd founded a band called the Dirty Liars. And about a year later, he was evicted.
Yeah, so after we formed, we changed our name to Who Cares. But his old band had changed their name to Who Cares with a backwards K.
Which is the stupidest idea I've ever heard.
I think you're just jealous. You didn't think of it.
All right, you got me. It was an awesome idea.
So we had to change our name to No One Cares, which, thankfully, was met with indifference.
And we kept the backwards K.
They never took off, though. So I definitely think they regretted getting rid of their biggest talent.
And how did you meet Tim?
God, that period's a blur. You know how it is.
He came into my life. A period I was really going through it. I couldn't walk, couldn't talk. To be honest, I was shitting my pants every day. But when I wasn't passing out, anything I could get my hands on, I put in my mouth. So Tim really saved me. I owe my life to that man.
Yeah, I was dealing with some major anger issues at the time. I knew I'd hit rock bottom when I kind of came to and found myself strangling a large flightless bird. Turns out I had an abnormally large cranium that was impacting my emotional regulation.
Begin.
With his help, I was able to become a bigger person.
Like a better person?
No, more like a physically larger person.
Well, I've heard rumors that Tim was born from a freak gardening accident. Can you shed some light on his origin?
Well, Lynn and Jack Lunn raised him, but John's the one that grew him on.
Here I was out in my field, amongst my pineapples, just checking my pineapples out, and I heard this faint crying. I thought, where's that coming from? So I looked around. What the hell? And I thought, damn, it's coming from there. So I pulled it out, and it's baby. Unbelievable. What a gorgeous little baby.
Lynn Lunn, here is your son.
Little Bubs.
Sure, he was orange when he was born. He grew into be a really interesting little boy. I think as a mother, you have different memories. Raising a healthy boy who had a lot of interests. Some of them were, probably I didn't hear about, but he was always a very interesting kid. Academically, sure, you want them to do well, but you sort of want them to do other things. When Jack came back from being away for 6 months, Tim's first words as his little 2-year-old at the airport were, hands on hips. So you're my daddy. They didn't have bikes when they were kids because I was worried about the traffic going to school. Swimming at the beach, I was always worried that they went out too far and surfed. Eating a lot of McDonald's, breaking records. We had 10 McDonald's for lunch.
Well, one day, for some reason, I was left with the two boys, and I thought, what harm can I do taking, a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old to the rugby league? Rodney Douglas and David Miller and Peter Byrne and I, sometimes on a Sunday, used to go to the rugby league at Lane Park, and we sit in the outer. Anyway, so we went along there, and Stephen sat there and he knew them all. And Tim, meanwhile, they had these sort of upside down hoops that you could lean on in the outer. We were in the outer. And Tim's hanging, swinging from it with his arms, and he started kicking some guy in the back. And next thing, this guy blows up, comes over, can't you control that shit of a kid? So ever after, Rodney Douglas referred to Tim as that shit of a kid. That's where it came from.
I obviously impressed on them not to trust people. We had a neighbour down, Jack's godfather to their youngest son, so that's how close we were as families. I came home, Mum and Dad were in charge. Where's Tim? Oh, he's in the bedroom because he had something wrong with him. I think he had something wrong. He was in his bronchitis or some illness. He had some illness.
Running from the nose.
Where is he? He's not here. He must be here. So it started, this unbelievable panic. Little boy lost. Ran down to the neighbours, went to the Snydermans. Is Tim here? No, we haven't seen Tim. Farrells haven't seen Tim. Barneses hadn't seen Tim. Ron said, I'll go looking. Ron got into his car. I'm screaming. Jack said, get in, just go inside. I can't stand it. We'll find him. Ron circles around the district. 2 streets away, here's Tim in a dressing gown because he was sick. His dressing gown and his teddy bear and slippers. And Ron says, hey mate, Tim, everybody's worried about you. What are you doing? I've just gone for a walk. Well, get in the car and come home because they're all panicking. I'm not allowed to get in the car with strangers. Farrell said, I'm your neighbour. I'm Ron Farrell. No, I can't get in the car with strangers.
We used to go down there to barbecues all the time.
So Ron came back and said he's around in another street, but he won't get in the car with me because... So we obviously... Stranger danger was impressed upon him, yeah.
Well, Tim
was young for his year, being, 25th of December. So he was always the youngest kid in his class. So when he was at the first kindergarten, we were advised to just keep him back a year. He's not quite mature enough to move on to the next level. So we ignored all that and off it because I thought maybe there'll be some glitch in his life later on where he will need that extra year. So he went off to grammar. We were advised that maybe he should repeat. Anyway, he did really well and got into university. So he sort of exceeded his ability there. They did a play called Mystery of the Something Pineapple. Stephen was a detective and wore a trench coat and a hat. Barnesy was in it somehow, and Tim was the housewife, wearing a hat, a handbag and a dress, which he pulled off with absolute aplomb. Do you remember that?
No. Tim's always been smart in a way that's different. In fact, I think the principal of grammar called him up because he came second in a maths exam which they give to test mathematical ability. Tim came second behind the Ducks. Max Howell, the principal, said, "This is wrong. What are you doing? You cheated. You cheated." Tim said, "I didn't cheat. Who would I cheat off?" He said, "You must have cheated. You couldn't come second." But so I took a forensic interest in our 3 children. And I get the report card. I said, "Tim, first semester. That's the average of your marks. Third, you're down here."
You're going off the page, mate.
And you're straight. And he said, "Oh, that doesn't really represent how I went. These are all high 4s.
Who? Tim Lunn. Yes, I know Tim. What about him? 60? Well, Tim and I go back to the 1980s, mid-80s. We were young students together at QIT. Young men full of promise for the future. Good head of hair, I remember. very popular with the ladies and some of the men. Not particularly gifted academically, I'd say, but always made up for it in enthusiasm.
At grammar school, I got this call, you might want to come and pick your son up. He's been away for a week up at the grammar school's farm that they had where kids went on, adventure and stuff. So I drove up to grammar, picked him up, and his right arm was definitely swollen. I took him once again straight down to Stuart Johnson, and he set his arm, went straight in and saw the principal. I said, my son was up there for a week. He broke his arm on the second day and you have ignored him. I said, this is a disgrace, I demand an apology. He said, I'm not giving an apology, your son's a hypochondriac. I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, Jim Johnson had to take a splinter out of his foot or his finger or something. And Tim was yelping, he had to chase him all around the room with a needle. He said, so we just thought when he was complaining about his arm, he was in roll.
I think Tim's story is that Jim Johnson produced a very large knife. And he was always quite ill on Christmas Day when my parents came down, because he'd have a big night out the night before. And then he would have his head on the table and my mother would say, oh, he doesn't seem well. He's
got a hangover.
I think he's eaten something.
When was the first time you noticed just how talented he was?
Thanks, Ed. Yes, I would say all of my life, as long as I've known Tim, as far back as I can remember. It started with his annual serenade of the neighbourhood every Christmas Day. He would belt out, "Man will live forevermore," because of Timmy's birthday. I think it might have been the first song he ever wrote. Quite the original, don't you think?
So you'd say he practiced religiously?
I would say he practiced religiously. Yes, he did.
And when did he unleash this talent on the public? Do you remember the first time you saw the world witness how good he was?
I would say that was his breakout role, which was when he scored the lead in the production of Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat. The year was 1977 and it was the Gap State Primary School's headline production. Tim was Joseph and he owned that Technicolor Dreamcoat. He played a very camp and hammed up version of Joseph, and it's fair to say the year 5 and 6 girls went a bit wild, and there may even have been an encore. I think that was Tim's big moment.
He's always been involved in incidents. We had 2 bunk beds in the boys' bedroom, warned not to jump on the bunk beds, but I could hear this jumping. The next minute, Tim appeared in our bedroom and leaned forward. A flap of hair fell forward and I was covered in blood. So he went off and had stitches. Another occasion, I heard this voice coming up Coinda Street. "This is an emergency!" Barnsey had gone down to Anogga Creek, which is forbidden to do whatever. Jason had slipped. He'd cut the webbing in his finger and he had fainted, face down in the water. Tim had dragged him out.
Nice of you to join us.
Great to be here.
Taking time out of your tour.
Not a problem.
Yeah. You're in a band.
Yeah, very successful. Very successful. You may have seen us in a few tours. Timmy and I go way back. I remember he was always keen. When we were kids, he'd come over. I had a guitar, of course. And Tim would grab the guitar, start strumming away. Sounded very similar to that, actually. I'd hide the guitar next time he came over. Somehow he'd actually find it, and a few minutes later, he'd be there again, strumming away. Ooh.
But he didn't make the band.
Not in the initial stages, no.
Not the current
He had
band.
a lot of talent with writing. I remember that. But he was a great bloke. And I remember as kids, we used to go, get into a little bit of trouble here and there together. Some might say we're lucky we weren't in jail when we were younger.
Right, so you go way back.
Way back.
How old were you?
Well, we were 3 or 4 when we first met each other. I think from memory, I actually sort of threw a stone at his brother in the head and we became instant friends. And we got into a little bit of trouble when we were younger, as most rockers do. I remember one time we were up on this hill And Timmy thought, what would be a great idea? See if we can both push this boulder off and see what happens. And so there we are, pushing the boulder. This is a huge boulder, and next minute we got it rolling. So excited, that's amazing. And then it kept rolling and getting faster and faster, and it's heading down this steep hill. And we're thinking, wow, this is awesome. And it's just starting to bounce and roll. And all of a sudden we go, there's actually a house down there. I don't think this thing's got to stop. And all of a sudden, it just started to get closer and closer, and we were starting to panic. And thank God it hit this massive tree right in front of the house. So we were really lucky. But we've had a few lucky times. I remember one time we saw something on TV and we went, wow, these guys have got flaming arrows. So Timmy thought, what a great idea. Let's try and see if we can do a flaming arrow.
Flaming arrows going into what?
Well, flaming arrows on TV, Indians shooting
Archery.
floaters. Yeah.
Ah.
And all of a sudden, Tim goes, what a great idea, let's do this. So we fashioned up some wire around an arrow. We made a bow out of bamboo, some dowel and stuff we had at home. And we wrapped a bit of cloth around the end of the arrow. Tim said, I'll light it and you shoot it.
Did you dip it in petrol or anything?
Yeah, we dipped it in petrol. Tim lit it. I pulled it back. We didn't think it was going to work. And I shot it across the street and it landed in this bushy area.
Oh my God.
And it actually worked.
Too well.
I'd like to sort of apologise now to the fire brigade who had to turn up. Tim and I love golf. We started it young and we kept on going out really early in the morning. But I do remember this one time, we had a barbecue that night before, I think it might have been about 16, 17. Had a barbecue, really keen for golf the next morning. Tim's at the barbecue, picks up a burning log accidentally, burns both of his hands really badly. So we're going, oh, well, you're out tomorrow.
Devastated.
Devastated. Get up the next morning, heading down to the golf course, and Timmy's there. He's turned up. Stephen and Tim, I'm going,
Miraculous. recovery.
miraculous. Anyway, we've sort of walked to the first 10. I'm going, mate, your hands, you're going to be okay. And then he pulled out these pink washing up gloves and put them on. It was at that point,
Of course.
everyone
he
else
did.
around us
Yeah.
thought I'd brought a special friend. There was people watching from everywhere. What is this guy doing? Picks up his club, starts playing, has the best round of his life. I still think to this day it was probably his best round ever.
Oh, we should try that again.
Yeah. We'll get him some for his birthday.
Oh, hello. We're here to tell a story about Tim Lunn, who, as we all know, is a musical genius. And as I sit here expertly playing the opening riff, bass riff to Another One Bites the Dust, I'm reminded of a story of when I first met Tim many years ago as a young accountant working in an accounting firm. We worked for a guy called Des Knight, and Des Knight was a liquidator. He was a very, very tough, strong man. He was known as a bit of a brutal liquidator in accounting terms around the Brisbane scene back in the late 1980s, early 90s. The scene was coming to an end. So businesses weren't going bust as much as they used to, and there was potentially a bit of downsizing that may have happened through the industry. It was all paper back in those days. There was no computers. It was all typewriters and paper. And when you typed out a letter that Des had to sign, it'd go into his office in a big pile of papers, and Des Knight would either sign it in big fountain pen or he'd cross things out. And if it was especially bad, he'd write, "Please discuss," at the top of the letter and send it back. And then you'd nervously have to go down to his office and he'd have to explain to you why you wrote such a bad letter. So Tim and I, full of bravado, thought we'd go to the Christmas party and compose a song. And the song was meant to introduce a bit of joy and a bit of entertainment to the Christmas party, and maybe put a bit of a smile on Des Knight's face. So we took Another One Bites the Dust by Queen, as you know. And I've still got it. So we thought we'd take that song and mix it up a bit. So we'd say, and another one's gone, another one's gone, another one bites the dust. You better come to me, cause we gotta discuss. Do-do-do. Another one bites the dust. And as you can imagine, there are accountants being exited from the business due to the insolvency business going bust. So we sang that, and another one's gone, and another one's gone, and another one bites the dust. Hey, you better come to me, you need to discuss. And that's the way it went. Absolutely hilarious. The room was in fits of laughter. Tim's musical prowess was on display for all to see. And I see these as the formative days of Tim's musical genius. It was a really good event.
What happened then?
We got sacked.
Hey Timo.
Hey Tim.
It's Shank here, phoning in all the way from Liverpool to you in Tasmania. We wish we could be there with you for your big day, but you know, we've got a few gigs on. We're playing the Cavern, and then Glastonbury.
You might have heard of it.
And then the Horse and Donkey on Sunday night. If you can make that, be good. Not many other people are. Anyway, we just want to send you a big love, mate. You know, you're inspirational to us, and you know, we know you went on to big things. We did invite you, of course, to join Shank, but you had your mind set on bigger things and went on to, you know, be the songwriter for Hook.
You know, I've always thought Timmy looks like someone famous. Like, not just a rock star, but like someone really famous. Like there was this one time when we didn't go to band camp. We went to a 50th and he dressed up as Ron Burgundy. I'm sure I've heard other people say he looks like Will Ferrell. And then there was another time he dressed up as David Bowie. And he really looked like David Bowie. How about Boris Becker, Ian Ziering, David Wenham, Richard Roxburgh, Aaron Eckhart, Paul Bettany, Neil Patrick Harris, Bill Pullman, Robert Redford. Oh, this is the one. This is the one, Timmy. Dolph Lundgren. What a star.
Tim the Rockstar. Known Tim over 40 years. I don't think I've ever said Tim and Rockstar in the same sentence. Tim and Dancer, different story. A couple of times come back to me now about Tim being a great dancer. I think there was one in particular where he owned the dance floor at a nightclub called Hot Gossip. Owned the dance floor, as in he was only one on the dance floor until the DJ told him to get off the dance floor so people could dance. Another time, Tim dancing, yes. When we were very young, going to be Not Earl concert, filled up a table with tequila slammer glasses before the concert, went to the concert, and Tim cleared the dance floor or the mosh pit at Minot Earl. The way Tim did that was he was on his back, thinking he was dancing, standing up. People cleared a path. But gosh, what a dancer. What a performer. Tim's dancing built up a hunger. Because after that night of dancing, we went out after and went to McDonald's in the mall. And Tim ate, no joke, 24 cheeseburgers. 24 cheeseburgers.
Jack Black, Will Ferrell, Tim Lunn, all the same person. A triplets trio. The only difference is, Tim, you're funnier.
No, you're not. But like, he's a very kind man. Strangely enough, some of my favourite memories of Tim. Tim knows all the stories of us going exploring and sliding down gutters in the, now that I look back, the moss and the disgusting stuff, and him giving me the figure four and spitting on my face, and Then there was me calling Stephen boys for ages, because whenever Dad called boys, only Stephen would come and Tim would come. So I'd say, that's boys and that's Tim. My favourite memories would be watching Monkey, Tripitaka, Pigsy.
What the hell?
The Goodies, Doctor Who. There's a lot of ABC in here, and getting to watch on the couch with Tim the things he liked to watch. I don't think he ever watched anything of mine, but we watched a lot of those programs. And if I imitated anyone in Monkey and it was racially insensitive, I apologise profusely, and that's probably not how I should be apologising either.
The first was our childhood videos that we used to make on Peter Brown's Super 8 camera, where we recreated Monkey Magic, and unfortunately for you, I'm pretty sure that you were typecast as Pigsy, so sorry about that. And the second one was when you and I were at school and performed in the memorable play The Crimson Coconut. However, of course, we didn't have a coconut for the as one of the props, so we had to paint a pineapple purple.
I thought I'd give you a really exclusive behind the scenes look at Tim's incredible collection of guitars. Beautifully made, solid instrument. It's definitely seen better days. Red body, very nice indeed. It's very dusty and it's got a bit of surface rust. We've got one down here which is called a Jasmine. Now, I'm not sure if he bought it because it is named Jasmine or whether it sounds like Jasmine. It is definitely a beautiful guitar, and it is definitely an ode to beautiful Jasmine. We have another acoustic guitar up here, which you'd think, given that one was called Jasmine, that this would be Sophie, but no, it's called Court. Last but not least, what's it like being married to Tim? Well, imagine that you are married to one of the most iconic lead singers of one of the biggest rock and roll bands in the world. Think Motley Crue. That is what it's like for me, living with Tim. He's a rock and roll legend. I remember on our first date many moons ago, he brought out an acoustic guitar and started serenading me with a beautiful song, which it turns out he had written. I was blown away. And then he said, I was in a band. And I went, no way, Tim, I didn't even know you played guitar. Now you're telling me you're in a band? What was the band called? And he went, Who Cares? And I went, no, Tim, I care. What was the band called? And he went, no, the band was called Who Cares? But it was Cares with a K and a backward K. I went, wow, how rock and roll. And that just sums up Tim. He's just a rock and roll legend. Soon after that, we moved in together and he brought all of his guitars, numerous guitars and a piano. And I thought, wow, he really is into music and I can't wait to hear him play all these instruments. And it's been about 13 years now we've been living together, and I am still waiting to hear him play all these other instruments. Though I have to say he does on the odd occasion pull out the guitar and play that same song that he played to me all those years ago, and I'm sure he's doing it for nostalgic reasons, not that it's the only song that he knows how to play.
Oh, to you I tried life. Why did I become so sad for you? That's nothing. And I tried to forget. But then I remember it's not to you.
We have got to write another song. We've been playing Memories exclusively for like 4 years now. At some point, it's gonna get old.
Yeah, but Tim won't be happy with that.
Just because he wrote our only song does not put him in charge.
What? What, are you still upset about the solo?
Yeah, I'm pretty well known for my solos. If he can't see the value in adding that to the set list, that's his problem. Regardless, other bands have like at least 2 songs.
Yeah, well, I'll talk to him, but you know what's going to happen.
It's all bloody bluster in it. He's not going to leave the band.
Here we're down, into the palace and into the village, where we go to the cave and hey! Oh yeah, mint tea, peppermint tea.
Yo, shout out to my main man, Min T, whoever that is. Hey folks, it's the notorious EGT in the house. I must admit, I have no recollection of when I first met Min T. Bit rock and roll in itself, I guess. Rockstar, you say? Well, I don't remember him singing, I don't remember him dancing, I don't remember him songwriting, and I certainly don't remember him playing the guitar, if I'm brutally honest with you. He always talked a good game, but never came through with the goods. Kept mentioning, "Who cares?" which seemed somewhat lacking in commitment to me. Nonetheless, given he fancied himself as a bit of a rock star, I decided to give him a shot and see if he could rap successfully. No C. Fancy recording a new album in Japan? I hear January's a great month for it. EGT signing out. Keep it real, friends. Now, anyone know where the nearest loo is?
Yes, it's been a rough year since Tim left No One Cares.
Well, some people cared.
Okay, let's get this band meeting started. So, Shelby.
Present.
Excellent. Red.
Yeah, obviously.
Well, you're here.
I'm sitting in front of you.
My name's Bobby, and I've been managing No One Cares for about 6 years now. It can be pretty hard managing both a critically acclaimed band and a solo artist, but I'm sure they'll start paying me soon.
So, Minty kept you on as his manager?
Yeah, he did. Although it's mainly just looking after this little guy now.
How can you see? I don't know why he's keeping that thing alive.
We need something fresh, something to really amp up our stage presence, but we can't have a repeat of last week.
Yeah, the pyrotechnics were a bad idea.
In a space that small, it's no wonder there were casualties.
At least it was nothing serious.
No, deaths.
Yeah, thank God.
We can think of something. Wait, hold on. Oh, Tim's calling. Just 1 minute. T, what's the shizzle? Look, the reviews have been a little bit mixed. Rolling Stone says you are too old and too white, but on the bright side, Wired did say that it was inoffensive at its best. Yeah, Vanilla Ice has turned down the feature, but I will be reaching out to Chocolate Mousse. Okay, great. We'll chat later. Okay, great. Bye. Sorry.
What was that about?
That's confidential.
Right. Well, I'm thinking we need to do something crazy for our next performance. Something unexpected.
We hire a wolf.
How am I supposed to find a fully trained wolf by Friday?
Not my problem. A long time ago, there lived a lone, lonely wolf who was all alone. This wolf only knew one thing, and that one thing he knew was that it was time to rock!
Mr. Wolf, where do you go when the sun is down and the lights are low? Mr. Wolf, his bite is sharp, his teeth are large. Watch out! He'll leave a mark. Shh! Can you hear that? Here he comes.
It was all I could do with a day's notice.
It's just embarrassing. We're expecting a wolf, and a blind ferret with 3 teeth comes out.
It was a canine, to be fair.
It was a geriatric Pomeranian.
You're lucky you're not getting paid.
Well, I do have some good news at least. We've received an audition tape for our new bass player.
What? Only one?
We've lost quite a bit of momentum since Tim left.
Whatever. Let's see it.
I got a song for him. It's inspired by his greatness.
That was brilliant. So we've just been told we're not allowed to play at the casino.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you hire a 10-year-old.
Yeah, well, I told you we should have put a beard on him. That fake ID was never gonna work.
I think it's time. Hey, Bobby, it's me. What's Tim up to these days? He's doing what?
Hello, I've been Tim's physio for a little while now. I've been training elite athletes for 10 years, and I don't think I've quite met anyone as elite as Tim. Unfortunately, he couldn't be in the PGA Tour this year because of his MRI results. I'll just go through them with you. Tim has insertional and non-insertional Achilles tendinopathy with retrocalcaneal bursitis and a whole-gone morphology of his calcaneum. They're also consistent with small tenosynovial effusions of the tibialis posterior, flexor digitorum, and flexor hallucis longum tendon within the tendon sheath and low-grade tenosynovitis. The peroneus longus and brevis tendons are unremarkable, but there is significant ankle joint effusion. I'm hoping Tim will be back on his feet next year.
Happy 60th, Tim. Sophie has told us to think of a nice memory that we've had with you, and one of my favourites is when I stayed up with you and Amanda in Brisbane for a week, and even though I got gastro, it was really nice to have you taking such good care of me, and I'll specifically remember our round of golf, where I can't remember the name of the beer, but it had a man's name, and you kept getting advice from him and playing better and better, and that's a really good memory of mine. So, happy birthday.
Happy 60th, Tim. I would say you've been a worthy opponent over these many years. Probably the only true competitor I've ever had in table tennis, not including these two bums who can't hold a paddle. Here's to many more games of many more niche sports. Happy birthday, Tim.
Many more, man. Happy birthday, Tim. Hope your day is filled with laughs, good company, and maybe even a little time on the course. I still smile thinking about how unreal your chipping game is. Every time you're around the green, it's like the ball wants to drop in the hole. Wishing you a year full of great shots, good health, and lots of happiness. Have a fantastic birthday. All from the heart.
No.
I believe he's done quite well for himself over the years. Yes, I've kept up with him. from time to time, and as always, always pleasure to be around. You know, they say that by the age of 50, you have the face that you deserve, but by the age of 60, you have the friends that you deserve. And all I can say is that he has some wonderful friends. So, young Tim, wherever you are, happy 60th birthday to you.
To me, Timmy, you are a star. You're a rock star in your generosity and your kindness and how you care for your mates. And I'm just so lucky to have you as a friend. And I just want to wish you the happiest of 60th birthdays, mate.
Happy birthday, Tim! Happy birthday, Tim. I hope you have a good 60th.
Happy birthday, Tim. I hope you have an amazing time in Tassie and a great year as 60.
Happy birthday, Tim.
Huge happy birthday, huge happy 60th.
I love you. Love you like a brother.
I love you because you are a brother. Timothy. I didn't even know you were a real musician until you sang What a Wonderful World coming home from Expo 88. And you did your Louis Armstrong voice and you just thought you were king shit. I always remember that, and just wetting ourselves in the car, whether it was a cab or somebody was driving, I doubt it. But yeah, screaming along Milton Road with you singing Louis Armstrong, What a Wonderful World. Thank you for the laughs. Thank you for the great times over the last, since 1986 when I first met you. And also thank you for my husband. That was a bonus. Sorry we can't be there, but we wish you a very happy birthday on the 25th of December and have a great celebration, and we will see you next year.
Happy birthday, Timothy Hugh Lunn, you old bastard. Well, I guess you're a young bastard because I'm 17 days older than you, so that makes me an older bastard. So all the best, mate. Always think of you on Christmas Day, because I did meet you when you were 4 at the Ashgrove West preschool or kindergarten, and I got to know you as the Jesus child because it struck me that you were born on Christmas Day. And I've known you as the Jesus child ever since, so I always look forward to ringing up the Jesus child on Christmas Day and wishing you happy birthday. Skip forward a few years when we were about 7, I'd say, playing a heady game of soccer against North Star at Zilmere at O'Callaghan Park, where there were paddocks all around the field. And my dad was the coach. He's laying down the law. He's going, you've got to do this and you've got to do that, and bang, 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 got to do this. And any questions? And Tim stuck his hand up and said, yeah, is that a cow or a bull in that paddock over there? And my dad just went, just go out and kick the ball. So that sort of set the tone for our friendship. We're always been close over those years, and Timmy actually introduced Katrina and I. So we're forever indebted to you, young Timothy. Good on you for that. And you've done many other good things over the 56 years I've known you. All the best. Let's hope for another 56, hey? All the best. Hope you enjoy a great time in Tassie. Wish we could be there. We might do that next year. All the best, Timmy. Have a great day.
From one happy birthday boy to another, happy birthday, Tim, as well.
Hey, Tim. It's been a pleasure. Hope to see you soon. Have a great 60th birthday celebrations. All the best.
Dear Tim, mate, it's been such a joy to have you come into our lives, and you're such an absolute gentleman and a scholar and just an all-round good egg. We couldn't be happier that we have become firm friends over the last 12 years. It's been amazing. And our love of golf is great. Love you.
So Tim, to you, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Chin chin.
Love you.
Cheers, Lunny.
Cheers, Lunny.
We love you so much.
Love you, mate.
Happy birthday. Happy 60th.
Have a great time, mate. All the best.
Love you.
Love you.
I would like to wish Tim a very happy 60th birthday from his little rock and roll wife. Love you, darling. Mwah.
Happy birthday, Tim. 60, big achievement. Super excited for you and your family.
Tim, we think the world of you. We love you to pieces. Have a wonderful 60th birthday. Lots of love.
Tim, love you to bits.
Well, happy birthday.
Hey Tim, happy 60th. Happy birthday as part of it. Good Christmas. I'm your dad and I'm so proud to have you as my son. Love you to bits.
This is sweet.